Hey friends, it's been a little bit, but I wanted to come encourage you today about being obedient to a God given instruction. Has the Lord asked you to do something or given you an instruction? Have you done it? Is your obedience delayed? Or maybe you haven't been obedient at all. Now, I understand, especially when we are growing, God is so patient with us where we're like, Lord, is that you? And we wait for a while because we're not sure and we want to make sure it's not our flesh and that it's actually Him, depending on what it is He's asked you to do. Or do you know it's Him and you just haven't been obedient yet? Let me encourage you how important obedience is. So, this is the 2-year anniversary for me that I celebrate life. 2 years ago today, I was in emergency surgery for a lower GI bleed. So my day started off, and I had internal bleeding, and I was bleeding out. It was a slow moving, and it started to really progress and ramp up, and became a lot of bleeding. Now my mom is a nurse. She's a retired RN, so I'm not completely ignorant about all the things. We actually thought it was something more minor, and so that's why this kind of progressed all day. But there's more to the story. After some time, I actually started to go into hemorrhagic shock. I was actually at my church when I lost my vision and my hearing temporarily, and I passed out, and my stepson was with me. I was actually setting up for a homeschool ministry for the next day, and he called the squad for me. Now, I went to the ER, and because they didn't physically see me bleeding, they didn't scan me. I think it's because when I laid down, the blood was pooling, but when I got back home, it started to release again. They sent me home. And later, the ER doctor apologized. I got the same crew, and they were great. And I'm glad they got me, honestly. But we went home from the ER, and you have to understand the mindset too. We were told that it was something else, that it wasn't as major as what it actually was. And so hours went by, and I passed out again. I was still bleeding, all the things. And as I was laying on the couch at some point during that time, the Lord spoke to me and said, "Do not go to sleep in your bed." Upon hearing that, I already knew that when my husband said it was time to go to bed, and I say that my husband said it was time to go to bed because my husband would not let me go lay in our bed. He would not let me out of his sight. He was so concerned about what was happening and what had transpired all day. And so when he finally said, "Hey, it's time to go to bed," I already knew. And I was like, I can't go to bed. I have to go to the ER. The Lord has spoken to me and told me not to go to sleep. And I had actually went into the bathroom, and I couldn't even stand at this point. I had to crawl from our bathroom into the car to get back to the ER. I was so weak. Now, friend, this is where I want to tell you how it's so important to be obedient to Holy Spirit. Had I not been obedient to God's instruction for me, it could have very well have been fatal. If I would have gotten in that bed and went to sleep, I might not have woke up. My organs may have shut down. So for me, it was life. It was, I'm stuck on my words because this instruction would have affected whether I was here or not. To even tell you this story today, I might not be here had I not listened to Holy Spirit, because He knows all. Come to find out, I had a 2-inch tumor in my lower GI tract. I had to have 2 blood transfusions, and they transferred me to a bigger hospital. And I had to have emergency GI surgery 2 days after I went in initially, because the bleeding would not stop. We don't always have to understand why God is giving us an instruction. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says, "Trust in the Lord and lean not unto your own understanding, but in always acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path." We don't have to understand who's affected, what's happening in order to be obedient to what God has said, because He knows the beginning from the end, and we don't. God warns and protects the obedient. Isaiah 30:21 says, "Your ears shall hear a word behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it,' whenever you turn to the right hand or whenever you turn to the left." It affects other people when we're obedient, and it affects us. And there may be times that we don't understand when we are not obedient. There are consequences. In my in what happened with me at that time, my consequences could have been fatal. Now, that doesn't mean that all consequences are fatal. Sometimes we don't even see the consequences of our disobedience. But I'm so glad that I wasn't disobedient or delay in what God had said to me that night. For me, my consequences of disobedience that night could have been catastrophic for my family. But the blessing of the obedience was life. I have a hope and a future because God is not done with me yet. Whatever God has asked you to do, friend, go be obedient to it. I know it's hard and it's scary, but you got this. Trust in the Lord. I love you. He loves you. I'm so grateful to be here. Have an awesome day and go read the Word.